welcome to the MLB Network Podcast. This episode is presented by New Balance. We got now. I'm Matt Vasgersian, and our guest on this episode of the pod is a three-time Manager of the Year, a World Series winning manager, and one of the most engaging and bright baseball people that I or anybody else have ever known. Joe Maddon joins us on the podcast today. Joe, nice to see you.
My pleasure, Matty. Thank you. It's always great to see you, too. I know your passion for the game is unequaled also, brother. So thanks for the invite. Looking forward to the conversation.
You know, I feel like you're almost busier now than you would have been if you were skippering a 162-game season, podcast, published author. Tell us about how your day goes with all these various projects.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I am kind of sort of busy with that. I got a once-a-week podcast with Tommy Verducci, once a week now with Brian Kenny during the season on MLB Network, MLB Now. And otherwise, like items like this, different podcasts. Tomorrow night, I'm going down to Ferg's Bar down in St. Petersburg to do a gig with a fellow from the St. Petersburg Country Club, where I'm now a member. They have a once a week kind of a thing down there, like a Q&A or some kind of interview. I'm going to do that. I'm constantly picking up somebody's podcast or interview. Locally, a couple of weeks ago, I went to Al Lopez's house, which had been moved from wherever it had been originally to Ybor City for a kind of a cigar smoking event. It was outstanding. I got to see this little mini museum over there. So there's always something. I got things now, and I'm filling up the summer calendar also. And then beyond that, possibly the most important game in the world to me right now, which is golf. And I'm getting somewhat better at it. I'm really enjoying it. So that fills my day. And then it'll be tomato plants, cucumbers, things of that nature, and like really, really good steaks on the grill.
Oh, man.
And good bottles of wine.
Earl Weaver would be proud of the tomato plants, I think, among many. Let me speak for all of us who call games, Joe. We miss you as a manager, if only selfishly, because we all really enjoyed the repartee with you. We enjoyed the transparency. There was never a time I was in your office where I didn't learn anything. So your appetite to manage again, I want to start with that. I read some comments where you said it's there as long as it's on your terms with your sensibilities and methods. What would those be? What would it take to get you back in the dugout again?
Well, it would have to be with somebody that really wants me to be back in the dugout again. I mean, that's really, it always starts there. When I was, as an example, when I was running the minor leagues for the Angels for years, and I was doing instructional leagues over in Arizona, there was a lot of coaches on the major league staff that I wanted to come over and be part of the group and just help us out once their season was over. And I was assuming that they would naturally want to come over or actually ask me to come on in and be part of this group. And then Bob Clear, my mentor, is in our book very clearly, no pun intended. But Bob Alou said, listen, I'm not coming unless you ask me or somebody asks me. And from that one moment, it was really, that sunk. I mean, the point is, if somebody were to ask you, I'm not going to go out right now and politic for the job necessarily, but it would be somebody that has the same set of sensibilities, feels the game, and the game itself and the clubhouse and the team organization should be run in a way that's balanced, meaning that coaches still have power. Your people that you hire have to feel empowered to do their job, and when they show up every day, that they have an opportunity to make a difference. Those are the kind of things that I'd like to see, and I would love to be part of that.
You know, because your baseball celebrity, Joe, is permanent. It didn't end when you took off a uniform, temporarily as it may be. I'm wondering about, and this is a gear shift on you here, I'm just wondering about the experiences that you've had as a result of your baseball celebrity that kind of ran into your other interests. Actors, musicians that you've gotten to meet because you broke the curse of the Cubs. Does anything stand out? Do you have relationships? Here you are with Joan Jett.
Yes.
This is pretty cool.
Jodi's a left-hander. She loves the Orioles. And look at that guy. He came to my office with his wife. We hung out for a bit. I had him in the office there in Chicago. He was a trip, man. How about that hair? Eddie and I still stay in touch. And I just went to his concert in Philadelphia last August. I drove down from Hazleton to Philly. We hung out for a bit. Was with them for pre-concert, post-concert, because Eddie could hang out, man. I mean, after something like that, you just don't go to sleep. Guys like that, Bill Murray's been wonderful to me. Came to an event for me in Pennsylvania. Coach Ditka's done that. A lot of dudes have shown up at our Joe Namath. Joe Willie came by to do one of our events back in Hazleton, also for our Respect 90 Foundation. It's been really interesting, and I really enjoy the exchange. And these are some of these guys, especially Namath, are people that I idolize as a young man. I don't want to date Joe right. I think he's only about 10 years older than me, but there's still that time lapse in there. But people like this, I really enjoy the conversation. You're always picking their mind, want to know what makes them tick, what's really part of their success also. And then I tell you what, quite frankly, they call me too. It's kind of an interesting relationship. Eddie and I, Vetter, really have a wonderful relationship, and he really going in Chicago, him showing up at games really was upbeat for the entire organization, situation, players, front office, et cetera. He's just such a normal guy. I feel like I've known him my entire life, honestly. So I've been very fortunate with that, and I still stay in touch with a lot of these dudes. Absolutely.
I think it's so cool for us as just as fans to know that you can meet your heroes and your idols and not be disappointed, which it sounds like that's been your experience with a lot of these people. We're gonna take a break. Much more to get to with Joe Maddon, talking managerial philosophy, equipment. I mean, this is a half-hour podcast. We could probably do 6 or 7 days and only scratch the surface with Joe. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the MLB Network Podcast, presented by New Balance. We got now. Worn by players like Michael Harris to meet the demand of elite players, the New Balance Fuel Cell 4040 V7 is a versatile cleat. The 4040 V7 is built for the athlete who needs responsiveness and the ability to cut and run at full speed. The model features a fuel cell foam underfoot and a synthetic and mesh upper to provide breathability, comfort, and a snug fit as you round the bases. The fuel cell midsole features nitrogen-infused foam specifically designed to propel athletes forward. Learn more and purchase the 4040 at newbalance.com. We continue our conversation with Joe Maddon. And as we're talking about equipment to some degree, Joe, talking about a New Balance cleat, you've probably been asked about it ad nauseum already, and it hasn't really been out there that long. The conversation around the torpedo bat. Everybody's looking for a win around the margins, according to Aaron Boone and others. Do you have thoughts on the evolution of equipment and as it relates to this new bat?
Sure. I mean, that was part of our podcast a couple of days ago, Tommy Verducci and I. Yeah, this is nothing really new. I mean, just the bat itself, outside of this bat, there's different sizes, different weights, ounces per and inches. You got the cup bat, you got the axe handle, you have thick handles, you got thin handles, you got big barrels, little barrels. This has been going on forever. The difference with this one is they made the barrel thicker down towards the label. I'm not buying everything yet. What it may end up doing, if in fact guys start hitting better with this, it's going to provide analytics an opportunity to adjust. I want to see the Yankees face better pitching with this bat and others to face better pitching with this bat and give analytics a time to adjust if in fact it does prove that guys are getting to this barrel better. I think you're going to see a different way or method to pitch to these particular guys that might pitch away from that thicker part of the bat.
So there are new legal bats. There are old illegal bats. And I'm curious as a manager, I am sure without ever asking you this, that you ran into occasions during your almost 20 years in the big league skippering where you knew somebody on the other side was using a loaded bat, or you had your suspicions. Let's say that guy killed you that series. Do you say anything? How do you handle that if your suspicions, your spider senses are tingling that there's something wrong on the other side?
Well, first of all, when it came to bats and loaded bats, I really didn't feel that. I had one issue with Joe Torre years ago when Aki Iwamura was with us. Aki was using a Japanese bat that was really abruptly cut off at the top. It was a really sharp edges on the top of the bat, flat. You can't get any flatter than this. It was like it went through a buzzsaw, and they challenged the bat and was taken out of the game. So I just challenged A-Rod's bat. I had nothing to be suspicious about, but because they challenged us, I challenged them. So when it comes down to bad bats or loaded bats, I think that's I'd be surprised. I think that's something of at least 25 or 30 years ago that was possibly more prominent, where the bat was sent to certain dudes and they would drill into the middle, of course, through the top and put some super balls in there and plug it back up so you couldn't even tell the difference. But I've not really thought that. I've thought the ball's been more of the culprit than the bat, although the bat with the new finishes, that's been something we've talked about, that like the new maple bats are harder. They put on these harder coating. Does that then produce more of a catapult effect for the ball off the bat? I don't know, because if you ask that question, you're always going to get the stock answer, and you really don't know if it's true or not. I'm very suspicious of authority sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's what I was more worried about or concerned about, was the ball, and then the coatings on bats. Those are the kind of things that I thought were more suspicious of, as opposed to like super balls being injected into the bat.
I guess because everybody lives in a glass house to a degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you poke it on the other side, you might be regretting what comes back at you that you maybe were even unaware of. That's a managerial situation I was always curious about. I want to hit you with another one too, because
Sure.
sometimes these disagreements over bats and people get their feelings pushed out of place lead to things on the field that you don't see coming. And when tempers flare and things get crazy on the field, you as the ultimate authority figure, you're the manager after all, you're supposed to restore order. I know every brawl's different, every situation's different, but if you were to advise a young manager what to do when things are out of control, what would you tell him?
Follow your instincts. I know I've incited situations on purpose. Happened in Boston the year that Rays go to the World Series in 2008. There was a stolen base at second base where Jason Bartlett put his knee down in front of Coco Crisp as he was sliding into the bag. As he did that, Crisp did not like that. So the next time Coco was on first, he slides way inside the line and takes Aki out on a double play. Really horribly bad slide inside. Kind of got upset about it. So in the bottom of the eighth, they go out to the mound. Bottom of the eighth, to go out to the mound to take my pitcher out, and I started screaming in the Red Sox dugout because I wanted this. This could not. Sometimes a situation, the opportunity is presented to you to take advantage of it, to sometimes spur your team, and this is definitely something or a moment that did do that. So I went with it, and I started screaming in their dugout from the mound. The next day, James Shields first hitter was Coco Crisp. He hits Coco right in the thigh. Beautiful. And that's the kind of hit you want. Beautiful. Right in the thigh. Big fight ensues. We lose players during the next month, once a week, because they had to give us some kind of a break because there's multiple guys. Nevertheless, though, galvanizing. Sometimes you got to fight for your turf. We had to fight to get our turf, take our place away from the Yankees and Red Sox. They were going to give it to us. We fought the Yankees that spring because of a slide at home plate by Elliott Johnson in a game at Steinbrenner Field. And that led to us feeling like we were more on even footing with the Yankees. And then eventually this other brawl with the Red Sox took it to another level. I really think among all the things we did with the Rays, those two moments, fight Yankees in spring training, fight Red Sox during the season, kind of catapulted us as much as anything that happened during that year. We could talk about our defense and all the different things that we did analytically to help create and we did. We were very good at that. But when it comes down to unity and this vibe that you have to create within the group, you never walk away from stuff. So, yeah, that, just being honest with you, yes, I actually incited the one in Boston. And there's other times somebody will come to you during the game because something may have happened. I say, nah, that's just not right. It's not the time to do something like that. Please, let's just put that in our back pocket for another day. And there's other times you got to stand up and fight, because quite frankly, you do. And in today's game, I know that's not really, you don't want to hear that. People don't want to hear that. But there's so much sameness going on in what we're doing right now, not just there, but in the world in general. If you're trying to ascend and there's people in front of you, you got to take it away from them. They're not going to give it to you. So whatever that means in that moment, you got to take it. And that's what I felt we did.
It's awesome. Oh, I want to go hit ground balls with you right now.
Let's go.
I want to go play for you right now.
Let's go.
We're going to take a break. Back with Joe Maddon. We're going to play Commissioner for a Day with Joe and let him dig in on what he loves and what he'd like to tweak next on the MLB Network Podcast. Welcome back to the MLB Network Podcast, presented by New Balance. We got now. Back with Joe Maddon, and we're going to ask Joe the We Got Now question, presented by New Balance. So Joe has managed so many great players, all-stars, future Hall of Famers, generational talent. This feels unfair, Joe. It's like asking somebody who their favorite grandchild is, but I'm going to do it anyway. Which player that you managed do you find yourself following more closely? Is there somebody whose career you follow? Not a favorite, but somebody who you're paying attention to right now.
Javi Baez, the fact that he struggled so much, and Chris Bryant, the fact that he struggled so much. I love to say, I love what Schwarber's doing, obviously. Kyle's been fantastic going to Philadelphia. Riz is retiring right now. There's so many, like you said, Zobrist is retired. But among the guys playing right now, I'm really concerned or interested in both Javi and KB. These guys are so integral part of that. And even like to say Wilson Contreras moving to first base, which that bothers me, still bothers me. I didn't like the way that came down at all. So I look for the guys that are struggling a little bit more and I follow them. I've sent out like little thoughts to different guys. Like I know Pepe Buddy Black, and I know Scotty Harris, the GM of the Tigers and stuff. So I'll just throw a little lightning bolt out there once. Nothing big. I don't mean to say that I'm getting involved at all, but I want to see Javi come back. I want to see Javi get it going again. I want to see KB come back. I want to see KB get it going again. I'd love to be, more involved in that as I watch from a distance. As I love both of these guys. They're so big in regards to what we did and dynamic. I mean, they were both dynamic players, and it's just, I guess they're getting a little bit longer in the tooth, but they're still not old. And to see them struggle like that really bothers me a lot, quite frankly. So the guys that are doing well for themselves, and even, I could go up and down the list. I'd have to really sit and think about it. Longo just packed it in, but you see Shohei getting a chance to do Shohei and then Trotty and all these other dudes. Very fortunate. Even managed Pujols, So I pay more attention to those that aren't doing well. And I really try to stay in touch if I can with them and just throw a nugget out if it's possible.
Yeah, spoken like any proud parent there. I love that answer. All right, Commissioner for a Day question, Joe. It's a little boilerplate, but I know you'll have something interesting for us. ABS, 154-game schedule, playoff rounds, extra innings rules. What's that first change you'd make?
First thing I do is I get rid of the runner on second base. I get rid of the throwing over to first base, and I get rid of the 3-batter minimum. Because all those things were brought to bear because of the games being slow. The superstar is the pitch clock. That's absolutely the superstar. I think just by incorporating that alone, everything else kind of falls into place. And I like the pitch calm. I like the ability to call the pitches more quickly with that little device between the pitcher and the catcher. Then the infielders and outfielder can have that too. To me, those are superstars. Those are the reason why, if the games were interesting at all to people, those are the main reasons why. Runner on second base, expedited end of the game. I'm not into that whatsoever. The throw over rule, that's crazy. Everybody's going nuts over guys stealing bases. It's like shooting fish in a barrel almost, especially for those that have some speed. And then the 3-batter minimum really takes away strategy in the game, and it's really created a moot point regarding the left-hander, strategic lefty or righty. Any of the rules to me that interfere with strategy in the game, I don't like. Because if you're, as a manager, if you've had some experience and you could see things maybe a little bit quicker than the other guy, when you start messing with the rules, that levels the playing field out a little bit. Pitch clock doesn't mess with anybody. Pitch calm don't mess with anybody. So any kind of rule change for me should be based on whether or not it impacts strategy. And if it impacts strategy, I don't want it. Because again, all the 20 years, 30, 40 years I've been doing this or was in the minor leagues, making mistakes on backfields, whether it was in Midland or Peoria or Salem or Idaho Falls, I made mistakes, right? Trying different things. And then you get beyond the mistakes, and then you might see something that somebody else can't see only based on those years. Gone. Those advantages are gone. So I don't like strategy being impacted. So any of the other things they're going to consider, like balls and strikes, ABS system, if it seems to be seamless in the sense that it happens very quickly, that would be okay. I'd be okay with something like that. I just don't like to dehumanize the game. I don't like dehumanizing us in the entirety of the world right now. Artificial intelligence, I prefer to just be relegated to like medicine and national defense and things like that, but just don't have it start writing term papers. We have to start thinking for ourselves. Anything that creates or causes us to not think for ourselves or not try as hard or become better at something, I don't like it. I don't like it. I like the idea of having to earn something. I like the idea of trying to get better at something. If I'm lacking, I need to be told that straightforwardly, and then I'm going to try to do something about it. But to have it always covered mechanically, I don't like it.
Half hour too fast. Half hour too fast. Not enough time with Joe Maddon. I still remember like it was yesterday watching you and Don Long evaluate Midland Angels in 1993 with Donnie's cones set up on the field there.
Right?
I mean,
That's
talk
right.
about time flying by. Goodness.
Right.
You can
That's right.
read Joe's stuff. Try Not to Suck is the title of one book. The Book of Joe got a lot of run that was co-written with Tom Verducci, with whom Joe does a podcast weekly. We can't thank you enough for the time with us, Joe. We'll listen to the pod. We love you on MLB Now with BK. Thanks for being with us.
Maddie, thanks a lot. Awesome questions. I wouldn't expect anything less. Way to turn me loose, brother. Great to see you again.
See you next time, everybody.